Okay, I want to get some user input on a tool that I have for myself that I am considering building a trimmed down version with a user interface so that it can be incorporated into Quickli Recruiter. I am hesitating to do it because it's a lot of work, but I do feel like it could be a lot of value to some people. So I'm putting this out there to see how many people would find value in it, if it's even something that makes sense to people, and if enough people are interested, I will go ahead and build it. So yeah, let's look at the use case. Right now, we are looking for a principal data engineer for one of my, when I say we, my department is. My team isn't working on it, but I suspect we will be because I don't think it's an easy role to fill. And we're looking basically for senior level data engineer. I won't go into the details, but you can run a search on LinkedIn. You could do title search, all this stuff, and get back a good response. But the problem is, you're not going to be covering everything because of just the way the search works. So, what I do typically is I'll pull down a more broad set, and then run additional filters through it. So let's take a look at the filters. So here, I've uploaded those profiles. So here's the search. The fields that you would have the ability to perform additional searches on would be the details of the company itself, so the description of the company itself. Within each profile, you have a company, and if that company has a LinkedIn profile, then you can search within the description of that company. So situations where you might want that would be where you're looking for people that, I don't know, maybe they work for managed cloud services, right? But you don't know who all the managed cloud services are, so you kind of search broadly for people who have that kind of experience, and then you can filter down within there to specifically only show people who have jobs that have been at these companies. And so then you could put your search in there. The advantage of my search is that you can actually have like kind of a round operator. So that's what this is. The disadvantage is that you can't do nested OR statements, right? So you can have your simple, OR groupings, but you couldn't say like within here, like another OR. It's not something I typically need to get that far into, and it's complex to parse, so I keep it relatively simple in that regard. However, you can put this around operator here, and that allows you to search for this word, data, near this word. And I have quotes around this because I want a word boundary, essentially. It's all words have a wildcard around them by default, but if I want them to not have a wildcard, I can just put quotes on either end. So you don't actually have to quote both sides, right? Just one would do it. You can do one side or the other if you want a word boundary there. But anyway, here. Same thing for title. You can run title search there, and using the same things. That's going to be less useful because LinkedIn's title search is perfectly fine, but maybe you wanted to do some additional filters, incorporating, matching all of these things. So everything that you use here is going to be an and statement, at least for now, as I'm trying to keep it relatively simple. And so if you put, in this case, I want to search for these titles. So something that has ETL or data and engineer or developer. And then within the description of those profiles, I want them to have these specific types of data management, data processing, data translation experiences. And finally, I also want them to be at large companies. So I can set a min and max size for the company. And the timestamp. So I'm also saying, show me people where these jobs are after December 2017. And let me just double check that is correct, because I'm pretty sure that I've covered that, but it seems backwards. And timestamp is greater than... Okay, yeah, that's correct. All right. I've already run this, but I just wanted to make sure there wasn't some anomalies or something that were throwing off my information. All right, so when I run this, I can get the filtered profiles. I can get a company search string, and I can get a company title out of those as well. Let's, or not a company title, a title search string, which is what we'll be using here in these purposes here. So here is a list of the 82 profiles that matched within the 640, where people had those sets of titles with those types of experiences within the last 3 years at companies that are larger than 1,000 employees in terms of their range. And here are those people. And then I create a new field. Here are those matched jobs. And then I end up mapping those and translating these into a search like so. So then we can just copy these titles and dump them in here. We can copy the companies and again dump them in here, saying, current or past, whatever it is that we want. And the advantage here now is we've identified the titles and the companies that employ specifically the people that have the description, experience, and the time frame at the companies we're looking for. And so if we run this search again over top of LinkedIn, we might pull down some additional candidates that we didn't get or that we didn't filter out the first time because of whatever reason that it didn't match in our initial search. So it kind of expands our search, and we get, instead of 640, we get an additional however many, right? You need to dedupe. And finally, when I do dedupe, it looked like I got an additional 100 people out of this. So the way it would work if I built a UI for it is you would run your search, and at the end of it, as you're getting ready to download, it would ask you, hey, it would show you this information. And actually, let me show you what else it could show you. So it runs an analysis of sort. A very simple analysis on all those jobs, and it gives us the count for how many times that employer showed up. So in that list of all of those 640 people, the most common company was Ford Motor Company, which, it's in Detroit, so not terribly surprising, right? Let's see, it should be about 13 down here. The next most common is General Motors. Again, no shocker, and that has 8. So then we should be around here. We see that the next most common employer is Quicken Loans. None of this is terribly surprising. These are big employers in the Detroit area. Ally Financial, but you get it. So you could have all this information, which for me is really useful. It also kind of gives you some additional information. So it'll give you the total years this is a millisecond timestamp, but it would convert to years if I finish this. It would give us the total years of job matches, as well as like the end year or the end timestamp and the beginning timestamp. So like the total scope and breadth of that experience. Anyway, lots of stuff you can do there, but what I'm thinking just in the near term that I will add is a UI with these different search fields that you can run additional filters on. It's just a question of whether or not people will find that useful, because it's kind of a bear to build these UIs and have people not use them is kind of disheartening. So I'm going to put this out there. If enough people say that they want it, I'll go ahead and build it.